Chairman McGovern and Ranking Member Cole, during my 25 years on the Foreign Affairs Committee, we've always prided ourselves on bipartisanship, and no issue demands bipartisanship today more than the generational
The
threat.
tab key to navigate and
Let me be blunt. The CCP's ambition to achieve global preeminence is the most significant threat to U.S. national security, economic prosperity, and yes, American values. We need to confront this challenge together, not as Republicans or Democrats, but as Americans. Unfortunately, the Foreign Affairs section of the America Competes Act, the EAGLE Act, doesn't meet this standard. It was rammed through our committee last summer in a rushed partisan process that didn't offer any meaningful opportunity for Republican input. What's even more regrettable is that as the Speaker cobbled together this bill, the Competes Act, she excluded Republicans once again. Despite 3 months of ongoing bicameral negotiations to craft a bipartisan bill that would actually counter the CCP, the Speaker decided to pull the rug out from under the talks and go it alone. The problem with the bill is it's all talk and no action. 2/3 of its provisions are findings, senses of Congress, policy statements, and other non-binding filler. It mandates over 170 reports. Legislating more bureaucracy and paperwork at the State Department will accomplish little more than bringing a knife to a gunfight in the international arena. Furthermore, the legislation fails to take advantage of critical national security tools in the Foreign Affairs Committee's arsenal. For example, the CCP is using U.S. technology to build hypersonic weapons. Yet this legislation fails to meaningfully use export controls to keep U.S. technology from supporting the CCP's military modernization or from supporting genocide for that matter. Further, while the majority claims this bill emphasizes alliances and partnerships, the bill completely omits foreign military financing upon which our allies and partners rely to stand up to CCP aggression. The bottom line is, this bill is an attempt to look tough on China without taking any real action. Instead, the real substance of the EAGLE Act is climate policy, an area where the Biden administration wants to cooperate with China. Perhaps the Speaker should have called it the America Cooperates Act, or maybe the America Concedes Act. The bill shovels $8 billion into the Green Climate Fund and unaccountable UN slush fund that has already provided at least $100 million to China. And committee Democrats rejected attempts to prohibit the CCP from accessing billions more, as the bill authorizes another $2 billion every year that never sunsets. These huge arbitrary numbers are 4 times what the administration requested in the first place and are more than double the actual national security and foreign policy programs authorized in the bill. This is all a sad display of what everyone already knows about the Competes Act. It's not a serious effort to counter the CCP threat. It's a desperate political ploy in anticipation of the midterms. In sharp contrast, House Republicans take strategic competition with the CCP seriously, as evidenced by the amendments before the committee today. I'd like to highlight just 2 of them now. First, Foreign Affairs Republican leader McCall has introduced an amendment to fix some of the major national security failures of this EAGLE Act. His proposal would add foreign military financing and export control provisions. It would help stop the CCP from preying on American technology and investment to fund its military development and hostile industrial policies. It would authorize the Countering CCP Malign Influences Fund at the State Department and a counter disinformation and propaganda initiative to better combat CCP attacks on our values. And I've also offered an amendment that packages together 13 proposals from Asia Pacific Subcommittee Republicans, ranging from countering the CCP's gray zone threats to levying sanctions for involuntary organ harvesting from the Falun Gong, to strengthening our partnership with Taiwan, to protecting our economy against the CCP. Mr. Chairman, I urge this committee to give honest and fair consideration to these amendments and others brought forward by Republicans both on and off the Foreign Affairs Committee. Tough policies like these ought to be included to make this bill a truly serious response to the threat posed by the Chinese Communist Party. I thank you and I yield back.